Hi, my name's Cobal Hartman, but you probably know that by now. If you know me by now, you know that I've worked on very many projects over the past few years. A lot of them relating to school, a lot of them for school, a lot of them for contests, and now I'm lucky enough to do it as a job. But this project has been one that has been so much fun, especially because I've gotten to use the knowledge and skills I've acquired to help some of my closest friends and produce something that I'm very proud of. So what went into making this, and why is my Curiosity project based off of this? The key concept of this being my Curiosity project is rooted in the fact that I've never done something of this genre or type before. Normally the things that I put together are fast-paced, comedy-based, quick-witted, or my attempt to be quick-witted, which has been seen in many projects I've done in the past, like my car video for Miss Bolin. Hello, my name is Cobal Hartman. I've serviced dozens of cars, all within the last 4 hours. See this hammer? Why would someone who knows nothing about cars have a hammer?
Has he said the hammer thing yet? Cobal, owning a hammer does not mean you know how to fix cars.
This film was intended to have a more melancholy feel. It's more interpretive. It's supposed to sit and drag longer, and that's not something I'm used to editing or producing. From the editing to the directing, it was a lot different than what I'm used to. Even the filming has a completely different set of rules than something that's more rooted in quick-paced comedy. So let's start from the beginning. From the start, we knew this project would require a lot of different sets of hands. We got a group together. We started filming the morning of December 3rd at 9:30 a.m. We were there a lot longer than I expected it to be. I think we finally wrapped up at about 12:30, and that was only because I had to rush to go to another shoot. I had only met everyone once prior to the filming, and that was just to go over general concept and groundwork of things and to meet everyone. But Noah was really the only one that I knew during this whole shoot. The first day of filming consisted of getting all the daytime shots. Surprisingly enough, most people wouldn't think that I did this, but I literally just used my iPhone camera and my iPhone stabilizer for actually all of the shots. I had brought a set of lavalier microphones to clip to people's shirts for some great audio, but problem number one, the SD card malfunctioned, and we couldn't find a workaround.
Do you want to see it? Do you want to see it?
Damn, I really thought that would work.
So I settled for some normal iPhone audio and tried to EQ the hell out of it, but I mean, we worked with what we had, and I think it turned out pretty good.
Hey honey, what's up? Oh yeah, yes, I got it. I promise. Alright, I'll see you after work.
There weren't very many hurdles during day one of filming. It's the second day that really felt like a lot. The second day, December 4th, at about 6:30 p.m., we decided it was time for the second day of shooting. Lucky for me, the shots on December 3rd had a sort of familiarity to them, because there was nothing very complicated about any of those things. There was a lot of moving shots, not a lot of things to methodically think through in terms of feel and vibe that Noah was going through for this type of film. I knew that the second day of filming would require more equipment, so I brought the big camera, a light, the 2 microphones that were now working, a couple of tripods, and an extra set of hands. I was lucky enough to be accompanied by what felt like a dozen people who were ready to step in and help at a moment's notice, whether it be carrying things around for me, setting up lights, or my friend Logan, who graciously decided he was going to sound engineer for us. The first thing I was proud of creatively was the light. We had one light, and I decided to set it up diagonal to the front of the car to imitate the moon in a sort of way, just sort of make it look like natural light was coming into the car on Noah's face. We kept this very consistent with the rest of the shoot so that every shot had a consistent lighting on everyone's faces, so it looked like the natural light was coming from the same spot, every direction. Problem number 2 comes in with the temperature. The sun sets around 5:34 around this time of year, and we started at 6:30. Now, as a cameraman, it's a little hard to film with cold fingers, and I didn't have gloves with me. This led to problem number 3 that I would not find out later until editing. Most of the shots were very shaky. It felt like smooth sailing from there, to be honest with you. Of course, I had to explain the rules of on-set filming to a lot of people, and that took a little bit of time and a little bit of re-explaining. But once everyone understood the general knowledge of we have to shoot every scene all the way through, every angle, because we have one camera, things went pretty quickly. Problem number 4, I think we're on number 4, came in when a lot of us could not remember our lines. This meant more breaks, more stops, more pauses, and then everyone's hands getting colder and colder.
Do you remember when she got mad?
That's fine. We'll cut it at you remember.
All that she didn't do.
I know it's all your fault. Oh, shut.
So close.
I almost had it. I almost had it.
This is it.
Problem number 5 came in when it was time for me to be in some of the scenes. Now, if anyone knows me, I was a theater kid. I love attention. So of course I was like, I would love to be in this. Up until that point of filming, I had no idea what was going to happen in terms of who was going to be the cameraman. No one there really had very much experience, but lucky for me, it turned out a lot better than I expected, to be honest. Finally, it was pretty much smooth sailing from there. Of course, things just kept getting exponentially colder, but we kind of dealt with it. The only other minor inconvenience that I don't know if I'd call a problem or not was the limitations we had in terms of microphones. As I said before, I had 2 microphones that attached to the inside of people's shirts. So we had one for Noah.
Would you two just shut up?
And one for his sister in the back of the car, who was another character. The problem with that is we had 3 characters in the car later in the film. The only solution I came up with was this. We filmed every scene from every angle twice. One time with the microphone on Noah and his sister, twice with the microphone on Noah's sister and me.
Man, what a terrible person. I mean, do you think she ever cared?
Finally, the night was over. We rolled out of there at maybe 9:30, 10 o'clock-ish, after I got all my equipment strike down. Officially, problem number 5 came up a couple days later when I decided to start compiling most of the footage. In the simplest sense, when you record audio onto the device that I record them on, it records them into one file. I found a way in my editing program to set the audio type as mono instead of stereo, then I separated the left and right channels, which separated the left and right microphones. Now that I figured out how to do that, I had to sync all of the audio with every single angle, because until we started editing and cutting everything together, we wouldn't know exactly what shots we wanted and where they would go on the timeline. As I said before, a huge learning curve for me was trying to figure out how exactly the feel of this should be. I edited my way about a minute into the video until I stopped and decided Noah and I had to do this together in person so he could tell me what he saw in his head so I could make it happen on the screen. One thing I found a little difficult about editing this whole thing was knowing that it would feel a lot different once things like sound effects and music were put in. Things like footsteps, birds, wind, crickets, all were dubbed in there, either recorded by me outside of my house or found online and put into the background, and it does change the complete feel of the film. Problem number 6 in editing comes in with color correction and choice of shots and things like that. For example, here's what one of Noah's shots looked like before, and here's what it looked like after. So in total, this project consisted of a lot of new avenues in film for me, and a lot of new problem-solving techniques that I've had to learn to work my way around a lot of things. I met some new people, had to learn how to work with these people. I edited something I'm not typically used to editing or have ever edited, and also worked based off of something that I did not write and something that I did not very clearly see in my head. I've also never really had to improvise with things like sound effects before, where I'm going outside with a microphone and baking footsteps on the ground to match up with the film. Thank you for listening, and if you ever get to watch the film, I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.